Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Oh wow, that's way louder than I expected. My name is Matt Crush. I'm from Resonate. I'm going to be kicking things off before we go into your regularly scheduled programming. So if we can advance the slides. So we're going to be talking about 4 key issues that we've identified going into the midterms. And these 4 issues are crowded primaries, where everyone's saying the same thing, reaching and persuading swing voters, differences within key demographic groups, and residential mobility causing people to be mislisted in voter files. So in a crowded primary, I think we've all experienced it, seemingly 8,000 people throw their hat in the ring, and they're all speaking from basically the same script. So how do you get your candidate to actually stand out? With redistricting, even incumbents are facing the challenge of introducing themselves to new sets of voters. And so in this case, when everybody is saying the same thing, if you have a seemingly unlimited war chest, you should just blanket the airwaves. But for the rest of us who don't have unlimited funds, the key is to understand what issue each voter is going to be thinking about when they go to the ballot box, and making sure that you're speaking to them about that issue. Make sure that they believe you are their champion on that issue, because otherwise you'll get lost in the noise. Reaching swing voters poses a pretty similar problem, but in the general election. And so in competitive campaigns, we know that these voters are key, but who is the Obama, Trump, Biden voter? My guess is that most people in this room have a theory of their own, but it may be less obvious when we think about these swing voters at the state and local level. You know, using Virginia, my home state, as an example, they have elections coming up in just less than 2 short weeks. Traditionally, the governor is of the opposite party of the person in the White House, and the state has a divided government. So the swing voter is alive and well in the state of Virginia. And so what we did is an analysis on voters who are likely to show up in 2021 in about 12 days, who are swing voters. You can see that these people are more likely to be male, middle-aged with higher incomes. They have an optimistic outlook, and they are devoted to God and their faith. They are trying to live a healthy lifestyle with a physically active family, limiting fat, calories, and salt. A gym membership is a necessity for these people. We can make keyword and thematic messaging recommendations on how to speak to these likely 2021 Virginia swing voters. As you can see, consider using themes of unity, nature, safekeeping, choice, decision-making when speaking to these voters. And then we can identify key issues that these voters care about and help you understand how to reach them. Interestingly, most of these swing voters believe that the Biden administration should be focusing on COVID-19. Only 16% of them think that infrastructure should be a top priority. And given what the Biden administration is pushing, maybe they shouldn't be speaking about that so much in Virginia. Within demographic groups, I think we've all had the conversation, hey, we need to reach Latinos, we need to reach suburban moms. But we understand that these people are not all thinking and acting and voting in a single block. Just like everybody in this room, they are unique individuals with their own beliefs and ideas. And so looking at 2 women, age 35, moms in Ohio, who are independents, you may think that you should speak to both of them in the same way, but understanding that the one on the left is concerned about access to affordable health care, and the one on the right is driven by her support for the border wall, now maybe one is relevant and one is not, or maybe it's a ballot initiative and neither one of these women are relevant to you. And then finally, with residential mobility, Pew did some research and found that across 5 commercially available voter files, only 14% of people who'd moved in the last year were listed in the correct district. Now, I think that we've all seen and heard about how much movement has been caused by COVID. I myself moved within the past year. So how do you make sure that you are reaching and persuading people that the voter file is not even showing in your district? And so the answer is not necessarily to replace the voter file or to throw out all the great data it can give you. It's to augment the voter file and rely on additional data sets. I'm biased, I work for Resonate, and I think we have a great way to help people do that. we've created a data set of 200 million Americans with 13,000 attributes to go deep into understanding who these voters are, so that in a crowded primary, you can speak to the voters about the 1 or 2 issues they care most about. You can reach swing voters in places that they care about. And we've connected these people to 550 million devices, both desktop and mobile, so that you can reach them wherever they are online. So if you have any of these problems and you want to talk to them further, feel free to reach out. And I hope that the rest of you enjoy your lunch. Thank you.
Hello? No, it's not working. Hello, everyone. I'm Rose Kapelczynski, the past president of AAPC. We've honored so many outstanding people this week, many of you here in this room. And I just want to add a note of appreciation to one more person who has been an outstanding leader for AAPC, an all-around kick-ass woman, Becky Donatelli. I don't know where Becky is right now, but if you don't know, Becky was a real trailblazer for women in politics. When she got involved in the mid-'80s, around the same time as I got involved in politics, there were very few women at the table. It was a fight to get into the room if you were a woman. And Becky did it, and she's built, since then, one of the most successful digital firms in the country. And she's brought that same drive and creativity and just quest for excellence to the AAPC, plus the first mixology class on stage. So you know Becky is an innovator.
I just want to add a few things. When I first joined the board, being the cynic I always am, which also I consider being an optimist, because if you're cynical, you want something better. I didn't know what this bipartisan thing was going to be like, and because I am crazy liberal, and so. But what has been actually for me a remarkable experience, and Becky sort of exemplifies it. And when I was asked to become an officer and join, I said I was going to have to work directly with Becky on a lot of things, and I was like, I don't know how much we agree on anything, at least from a political standpoint. But what I saw was, and is, such optimism, such belief in the organization, belief in the that we can do things that we can't do on our own. The bipartisanship is actually important for our work, our industry, and what we believe in. And we're gonna disagree. That ain't gonna end. But that is very unique to Becky. She shows such dedication to the organization, such belief that we can do bigger things when we do it together. And I really appreciate that, because it is hard, especially in this environment, to see the world in that lens. And that's important. So normally I would also maybe give a gift to Becky to thank her, but this is Vegas. So I have a black chip in my pocket that I won from poker a couple nights ago that I will not give to her, because if I give it to her, she will do something sensible with it. I am waiting for her to come with me. But come to me, and we're gonna put it on some bet, and we're gonna gamble with it. But I have to be there to monitor it, because I want her to gamble with me. So, thank you, Becky.
So my maiden name is Black. We'll go to the roulette table and we'll put it on Black, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so you guys are too nice. I just want to say one thing. Don't leave. Okay?
I follow Becky's orders.
Okay, wait, don't leave. So we had a bit of a dust up today, I understand, in a couple of our panels. And I just want to address it now. We are relentlessly bipartisan. We protect the business of our business. We care deeply about our right to do political consulting. And occasionally we kind of stray into politics, but we pull ourselves back, because that's not why we're here. We're here to protect the right of free speech, and we're here to protect the right of our voters to vote. And I don't think Dan Hazelwood is here, but he gave a great speech last night about being Americans, and that's why we're here. And I am so proud of everybody in this room, and I am so proud to be part of this organization. And I love you, Larry, and I love you, Rose, and you guys are amazing. And actually, I was going to do this later, but as long as we're up here, we have a great staff, and they do a lot. But this is a job. And Rose Kapelczynski, who is, I can't say enough good about, she's just the best thinker and an all-around amazing human being, rode us through COVID, got us through in better financial strength, strong together, moving forward. And we want to say thank you, immediate past president. You're not going far, because she's still the president of our AAPC Foundation, but in honor of Rose's service to the organization. Thank you, Rose. All right, let's get off the stage. What?
Thank you, and we're done.
Okay. All right.
Call me.
How y'all doing? All right. There you go. Let's get, is that Tex out there? All right. Tex, his first time playing craps last night. I taught him craps, and he went on a 20 roll, run that was legendary. Like just the whole place was cheering for him. It was an amazing thing. Raise your hand if you won some money this week. No, okay, all right. Raise your hand if you're barely holding off your alcohol shakes. Okay. All right, cool. We're gonna try and make this fun for you guys. This is Shark Tank. Here's the idea. We're going to bring various vendors up that have some kind of innovative idea or product or solution. They get a few minutes to run through their slides. We'll try not to cut you off. If we'll keep it to 3 minutes or so, or else we will. And then the three of us are going to ask questions. To my left here, Jackie Hubig. You just changed your name. Basis Technologies, right? And Alex Avatone with Parabellum. And we're gonna try and make it fun. Ask some questions. Put a little heat behind them if we can, but otherwise we hope you find this informative. And at the very end, you'll get two things. One is you'll get to text and decide which solution you think is most innovative, so we'll get kind of a winner here. And then the second thing is that I'm going to give you my favorite joke, and you'll never look at me the same way again. I'm telling you. Some of you have heard it already. You know where it's going. Okay. So, I'm Brian Franklin. I'm happy to be here. Thank you, Becky. I want to just add one more thing. Becky's one of my dearest friends in the business. Like Larry, I'm on the complete opposite side, but we work together, and it's checks and balances. Sometimes I get a little mouthy, or I don't, and I step over the line, and she's right there, but there's love, and I can't tell you how much I respect her. It's something we all need to love each other despite our differences. Our country desperately needs it, and that's one of the things we try and exemplify in this organization. And Becky, I just love you so much. Okay, love you back. All right, we're going to start today with MIQ. Jesse Contaria. Hey, Jesse.
Yeah, Contaria.
Sorry, Contaria.
No
I'm
worries.
sorry. I don't have my reading glasses on, so I just.
Cool. Let me just get set up here. All right. Great. Well, thank you all for being here. I'm Jesse Contaria with MIQ, and I'm excited to tell you about our TV and OTT analytics dashboard. So this dashboard is powered by real-time TV viewership data on over 20 million households nationally using a fingerprint technology. And we've integrated in the Ad Impact Political Ads library to create the only TV analytics dashboards built exclusively for political campaigns. We use this for 3 primary use cases. One is audience analysis. So whether it's a first-party voter file, a geographic area, a demographic profile, you can analyze your target audience to understand who watches OTT only, linear only, or both, the top apps and devices they consume content on for OTT, the top linear channels and programming they consume for linear, all for better data-driven, audience-backed media planning and buying. Number 2 is for competitive tracking, something very important to a lot of people in this room. Because we're integrated with the Ad Impact library, you can go into this tool at any moment, search for one of your competitors, understand exactly what they're running in that moment. And then finally, we use it for mid-campaign analysis and better omni-channel activation. So right now we're showing the Virginia governor's race and specifically the Youngkin campaign and what they're doing over the last 30 days based on our opted-in panel of 400,000 users or households within Virginia. Here we know how many people have been reached by the Youngkin campaign, at what frequency on TV. We develop frequency groups so we can identify the oversaturated audiences versus the underreached. For those underexposed audiences, what linear channels and programs they've seen the ads on so that you can optimize your linear buy. Demographic analysis of those who have seen your ad at a less than optimal frequency so you can understand who you're missing. And then geographic DMA level analysis based on tens of thousands of devices for true reach and frequency, as opposed to relying on projections from unaccredited data sources. And finally, we can understand what impressions are going from a linear device or OTT, helping solve that OTT competitive issue that came up in 2020. So we're using this data for political campaigns in a couple different ways. 1, to retarget people who have seen your TV ad with a digital ad. 2, to conquest people who have seen your opponent's TV ad with your own digital. To optimize for frequency and incremental reach. To identify households based on their TV viewership patterns to target, so bilingual households, for instance, or heavy news watchers. And then finally, for custom measurement, so that we can come to you mid-campaign and post-campaign and tell you exactly what the incremental reach was for your digital over your linear and what the cross-channel frequency was for your TV buy and your digital buy combined.
Thank you. Alex, do you have any questions you want to start with?
Sure, yeah. Who's your biggest competitor and what's the difference?
Yeah, I think, so for any of the probably digital and a lot of the TV folks in the room right now are probably aware of automated content recognition data. It's come up on a couple of the panels. Honestly, ACR data is like any other data source. It's ultimately a commodity. A lot of other people have the data. What's unique to us is that we've coupled it with the political ads database to really create a dashboard for political campaigns, as opposed to trying to fit like a corporate, dashboard for a political use case.
Are you paired or teamed up with a particular data source provider?
Yes. So our ACR data currently comes from Vizio and LG. Do
you have are you a first party DSP or is it?
We are. So MIQ is a programmatic media managed service partner. So we actually sit across 6 different DSPs and traffic on those DSPs on behalf of our clients.
Can you talk a little bit more about the tool as far as, does someone need to be running a campaign with you to have access to this tool? Is it something that you're monetizing separate from running a managed service campaign with you?
So because of the nature of our data contracts, we actually can't sell this on a subscription model, as much as we'd like to, frankly. However, what we can do is provide it as added value for clients that are working with us throughout the cycle.
Do you have a minimum?
We have no minimums for activation. For hands-on keyboard access to those dashboards, that is reserved for some of our our clients that we do a lot of work with. Sure.
How much did you place last cycle? Like just a ballpark.
We worked with over 250 political advertisers, from school board to president, and north of $40 million.
I think we're at time, right? Yeah. So, well, thank you, Jesse, and those MIQ for you.
All right, thank you.
Up next, we have a text request. Jack Bradford, come on up.
How's everyone doing? Good afternoon, Sharks. Always wanted to say that. My name is Jack Bradford. I'm an enterprise account exec with the company Text Request. I'm going to make this pretty short and sweet. You can send out a bunch of text messages for very low cost. We're a bootstrap software provider that gives you the ability to reach hundreds, thousands, or millions of people in the most effective and efficient way possible, all via SMS and MMS. Is this the clicker, by the way? Let's see. Texting has become and will continue to be the most direct way to reach voters, volunteers, and donors. Text messaging has a 95% read rate within the first 3 minutes. I know email hovers around 15 to 18%, and I can guarantee you no one here is going to answer a caller ID that says potential spam. Why text request? Well, we're battle tested. We sent over 300 million messages in 2020, servicing more than 500 campaigns at every level of the government. Our system delivered these messages at an average rate of 92%. That's a small example of one of many reporting analytics called sentiment analysis. It's going to track the good, the bad, the ugly responses based off certain keywords. This should be a video right here. Yep. So, I mean, this is the simplicity of our dashboard here. The Conversations tab, all permanent record of all messages will be stored here. Peer-to-peer tab, this is where you'll create your campaigns. This is this simple, you'll name it. You can start typing out your campaigns. We have message templates you can create within the system, so any pre-made campaigns you'd be sending out frequently, instead of typing out the message every single time, just select the template. You can upload contacts directly in the system using an Excel spreadsheet, CSV file. Shouldn't take more than a couple minutes to create that campaign. Go back to that current campaign tab here. To stay compliant, you're going to manually send out each one of these messages. You can send about 40,000 messages in 1 hour, one individual can. When we provide you analytics breaking down each campaign sent from the system, we pride ourselves on these three principles. First, scale. With our system, you're able to reach the largest number of people in the shortest amount of time. Pretty big impact right there. Second, support. You can easily call, text, or email us for customer support. Our team's always available, and we are willing to go the extra mile. And last but not least, pricing. There are no monthly contracts, and we're by far the most cost-effective solution on the market. Please feel free to find me after this presentation to discuss this in further detail. And we are aware and highly educated on the new rules and regulations surrounding P2P. We're being proactive in every step of this process to ensure more messages are being delivered, more clients are satisfied, and more elections are won. Sharks, are you ready to start texting?
Yeah, absolutely. So do you think a majority of your clients are you working directly with campaigns? Are you working with GCs? Kind of where does the text messaging fit into the landscape these days? Yeah,
to be honest, we jumped in the political space 2 years ago. I would say about 10% of our clients is probably the political aspect. In the end, we're actually a business texting solution where we'll text enable your business number, like landlines, voice over IPs, toll-frees. Now that number advertised, you can reach out to candidates, leads, members, depending on the organization, the industry you're actually in. But I mean, you could be a small candidate for running any type of school board to a couple president's elections last year. So I mean, it ranges in the end. How many messages are you needing? And we'll provide you with the system to send out the messages. That's really, in the end, what exactly we can do for you, at least from the political aspect.
Yeah, what about enhanced video? I saw your pricing and didn't see it broken out. Do you do enhanced video, and is there a difference in price?
Yeah, so MMS, multimedia messaging, will always count as 2 messages against your usage instead of 1. There is a certain file size when sending a video, which is also pretty nice if you actually want to send that information you're putting out.
What's the file size?
I can easily whip it up. Give me 3 seconds.
Can someone text it to him?
Well, while you're pulling that up, are you running into issues with, like, for example, T-Mobile or in terms of getting political text through, and is that something that's affecting your business and potential business?
So I mean, we actually are running initiatives with T-Mobile because these new carrier fees like the 10 DLC, in the end, it's another way for them to make more money. So once you get your numbers registered, you'll have a higher deliverability rate. So I mean, we are the ones being proactive and actually registering your accounts, going through Campaign Verify. And it could all be a scam, but we're actually doing that to make sure the messages are being delivered. And it's 675 KB video size.
Are you worried about text blindness? I'm a Virginia resident, and the amount of text messages I'm getting is overwhelming right now. Do you think that's going to be a problem going into the...
I mean, to be honest, I could see how that would be a problem. And I'm sure it can be annoying sometimes. Luckily, with our messages, our carrier, our upstream carrier, I don't know if I should say it or not, but we're required to have an opt-out message on every text. I mean, you simply have the ability to text stop, opt out. There's a couple keywords you can do to stop receiving those texts. So I mean, you got to be smart about what campaign you're running, what you're actually, the content of the messages you're sending.
Well, we're gonna text stop right now.
Thank you.
And thank you, Jack Bradford, text request. Appreciate it. All right. Let's keep it going. Signafide, Corey Langhofer, come on up. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I skipped one. SpotOn, Chris Nolan, come on up. My apologies.
Brian. Hi there, everybody. I'm Chris Nolan. I'm the founder of SpotOn. Most of you know that. Most of you know that. I'm here today to talk about Pinpoint Persuasion, which is SpotOn's automated direct buying platform. Our patent software is built from the ground up to place ads on local news outlets across the country safely and securely. We know two things about local advertising. One, that's where the voters are. 80%, give or take, of a regular news site reader is a voter. The other thing we know is that buying is frustrating. Creative gets lost, reporting is spotty. I've had people lose checks, and it just takes too much time. Ben Knuckles is here, he can tell you all about it. And that's if you can find the outlets you need. Pinpoint Persuasion simplifies the direct buying process and makes it easy for you to find the sites you need in the districts you want to reach. A little animation there. There we go. How did we do this? We built a database of reputable news sites all across the country. There are about 4,000 of them listed on the platform. We've matched each district to a congressional district, or each publication, which has a zip code assigned to it, to a congressional district, a state house district, and a state senate district. And yes, of course you can search by zip code, I promise. It's easy to find the outlets you need to target your ads. And what used to take an afternoon now takes a couple of hours at most on Pinpoint Persuasion platform. I've been using this platform to build ads for our campaigns for about 2 years, and I'm here to tell you it works. We also allow you to upload your creative, and we'll have publishers be able to review your creative on the platform and tell you why it's, if it's approved, why it's rejected. We're making them write it out so they can't say, no likey, whatever. They have to give you a reason. Listen, trust me, they do it. When the campaign is done, we have real-time reporting. Anyone who's interested in seeing how this real-time reporting works should see me as soon as you can here this afternoon, and I can show you where it's running. But basically, when someone clicks on an ad or when an ad runs, you'll be able to go to the platform, look at it, and watch your campaign progress. Pinpoint Persuasion, built by political people for political people. There's the email. Call us up. Hi. How you guys?
We're good, thank you. Chris, historically, are these mostly like local papers? I mean, historically, I understood your focus was on fixed placement in various markets. Are these mostly local paper sites?
These are all the local sites in the country, and they've all been reviewed so that we know they take IAB standard ads, or they have at least 5,000 unique visitors. If they don't have 5,000 unique visitors, they need to be part of a larger chain. But we basically reviewed them for IAB standard because that means the publisher at least knows about the internet, because there are some publishers who, it's still a new thing.
And do you have minimums?
Yes, we do. It's a $10,000 minimum, but that's net to us.
$10,000 a month?
No.
Or just 10,000 project?
Campaign, and that campaign can run anywhere from, 2 weeks to 10 days.
Got it.
I'm not going to let you spend $10,000 to run a campaign in New York City, but, you want to go to, I don't know, Cambridge, Maryland, we could probably do okay.
And are you able to pick where the publishers run on their page?
We're
on your site?
talking to publishers about how to do this. For your purposes, we are outside the waterfall. This is a direct, built from the ground up, patented technology. And it allows us to be able to say to the publishers, here's a political ad. Here's what you need to do to look at it, to review it, to make sure that it's in keeping with your editorial message, which is the thing that they care about. And it's also the thing we care about as buyers. And so we're working on that. But the key part is we're outside the waterfall. So the price you pay and the price you see is clear and transparent. And so is the inventory.
But you, in terms of where it is on the page, is it kind of like with another programmatic buy where it'll show up where it shows up?
This is not programmatic.
I understand.
This is automated direct ad buying.
Right, but in terms of where it shows up on the page, you just don't know yet, right? Like
we don't book anything below
Okay.
the fold.
Okay.
We never have.
Okay.
Is there like a kill switch, a way to turn it off if you needed to, or pull back the ad, or how fast could that happen in the worst case scenario?
You can, with the creative static that I showed you, you can change out and swap out the creative. So if a publisher rejects it, you're able to go back to a screen that we didn't show you because of time, and say, oh, okay, yes, let's change that out. So yeah, that's built into the process.
Great.
And how quick is that process? How quick does it get changed out?
It's going to depend. Oh, it's instantaneous, just like the reporting. As soon as it's uploaded, it's on the server. But obviously the publisher is back and forth. That takes time.
Well, we're going to hit the kill switch on this. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Brian.
it. And now we're going to go to Signafide and Corey Langhofer. Sorry, I got the order wrong there.
Good afternoon. If you aren't on the ballot, you can't win. And if your opponent isn't on the ballot, you can't lose. Signafide's a political tech firm that focuses on just this part of a campaign, the ballot access, ballot qualification phase. The solution from the client's perspective is simple. You give us petition sheets and a voter file. We run those through our system. We use a combination of human reviewers, of course, you can't get away from them, and deep learning, machine learning. In about 5 days or so, assuming you give us 500,000 signatures for a large ballot measure, we'll give you a final report itemizing every defect on every line of every sheet. The big problem in petition review is complexity. Believe it or not, there are almost 150 ways that a signature on a petition sheet can be invalid, depending on your jurisdiction. And so the way most companies solve this problem is they ignore the complexity. They focus on the 3 or 4 biggest issues, voter registration, circular registration, notarization, and ignore the rest. We solve this problem with technology. What we do is a micro-task approach. So rather than giving a reviewer a petition sheet and say, find any one of these 150 problems, potential problems, they can't keep that straight in their mind, right? It's too much for a human to think through. We give every reviewer a very narrow question, a micro-task. On this screen, what you see is the simplest micro-task, actually. The question is the row blank or crossed out? And the machine's actually pre-processed this, it already knows the answer, and humans auditing it to ensure almost perfect accuracy. The next microtask I'm going to show you is probably the most complicated, but the most important. This is the question here is, did the person who signed this row, are they registered to vote? And again, the machine's pre-processed this. So it's read the handwriting, it's done a smart match to the voter file, and all the reviewer has to do here is select the second option, which is in fact the same name, same address. This is how we validate it quickly and accurately. In fact, this approach, using micro-tasks instead of asking reviewers to look at everything, doubles our speed and decreases error rate by 50%. It just doesn't compare to the old way of reviewing signatures. Over the last 2 years, or excuse me, 2 election cycles, we reviewed a few more than 2 million signatures. And the average price is $1.25 per signature, but it depends on, of course, the size of the campaign. We mostly focus on the no side of statewide ballot measures, where the no side sees the yes side turn in, say, 400,000 signatures, 500,000 signatures, and have a week or 4 weeks in some states to show up to court and say why they're invalid. That problem is not solvable without a technology like Signafide. And given our growth rate over the past couple of election cycles, we think there's plenty more room for growth. What questions can I answer for you?
Is there anyone else? Do you have any competitors? Is there anyone else doing this?
There's no one else who does this with technology. The competitors in the space use fundamentally human solutions. And again, because think about all the ways a date can be wrong. So you could not put in the date, that's obvious. You can put in a date that's in the future. This happens a shocking amount of, it's very common, surprisingly. You could put in a zip code instead of the date. You could put in a date that's missing a year. There are 20 ways a date can be wrong. Humans can put those into different categories. When you do it through technology, and you know the sort of menu of the law in your jurisdiction, if the date is missing, if the year is missing, is it valid or not? We can solve that with technology simply. The human solutions can't do it. So they focus on simple things like, is the voter registered? Is there a notarized stamp on it? And you end up missing a lot of objections that way.
So what is the accuracy rate on the print? When they print their name, what is your accuracy rate now? And then what do you do when the first name might be an abbreviation or a shortened version, like Bill for William?
Yeah, so Bill and William, that's an easy one. The system recognizes nicknames, of course. There are databases of nicknames. They get more and more complicated as the country gets more and more of a melting pot. But that's all built into the system. The accuracy on the handwriting recognition is 70%. So if you hit the orange button for a new signature, the next one that comes up, you're 70% likely to have the machine already recognize it, recognize that handwriting and find the correct person in the voter file. And the other 30% of the time, they're either not registered, or you need to search a little bit, usually because the handwriting is just terrible. Like, handwriting recognition is not perfect yet, but you can use it to make everything go faster.
How much did you say it was per signature?
We average $1.25 per signature. That depends on whether it's a big run or a small run, naturally.
And if it's a big run, if you have a state like California or Florida, and you're potentially dealing with 700,000 or 1 million records, how low could it potentially go?
So actually, $1.25 is our standard price because and it's for big runs because most of our projects are big runs. Okay. When we go up, when we go down with the price to, like candidate races, for example, usually they're not dealing with anything like 100,000 or 500,000 signatures there.
Yeah, I mean, is there a certain threshold on a floor where this isn't really practical for a campaign?
Yeah, I think if you've got 2,000 signatures or less, which is most candidates, we would say, look, if you're an important long-term client relationship, we're going to do it for you, but we're not looking for that work, right? Fundamentally, we're here to solve much bigger problems that are going to go to court. Certainly, they need like a more credible expert witness and exhibits to help them.
What's your source for the voter file?
Well, we usually source it directly from the state because when they file with the Secretary of State is super responsive to us. We can get the most updated file almost immediately. Thanks.
Great. Thank you. That was Signafide and Corey Langhoffer. Now we're going to go to Casual IQ. Daniel Kelly. Come on up. I'm sorry, Causal.
That's okay. Everybody does it.
I should really put my glasses on before I do this. My arms aren't long enough, and like that. Yeah. Sorry.
That's what happens when you're named by a data scientist. So this year, Causal IQ won 2 Pollies for our multivariate technology. But today, I'm really excited to share with you our next evolution, which is Uplift modeling. Here we go. With each passing election cycle, the margin of victory for campaigns is getting smaller and smaller. In the 2020 congressional, 89 races were decided by margins of 10% or less. Of those, 42 were decided by margins of less than 5%. In the last 3 presidential elections, the average margin of victory in the 10 closest states has dropped by 40%. A campaign can no longer use the same lists, the same technology, or just message the base. You need a persuadable middle to win. So what is uplift modeling? In conjunction with our Polly-winning multivariate optimization, uplift modeling aims to predict if a voter can be persuadable if and only if they see an ad. So how does it work? Uplift modeling begins by creating two models simultaneously, one an exposed group, a second control group of similar voters. An incrementality score is obtained by taking the differences at predictor level scores between the two models. When the test coefficient is smaller than the control group, any attempt to persuade that individual is actually going to lock them into their currently held belief, rather than be able to, change their mind. But when the test coefficient is higher, we have evidence this is a persuadable voter, and messaging should be delivered. So, what does this mean for you? Knowing that you're targeting, come on, there we go. Knowing that you're targeting the persuadable audience that you need to assure the win, and that Causal IQ is going to optimize your media delivery to persuadable audiences, maximizing the impact to mobilize these voters and secure the win by margins bigger than these. So, do you want to win? If you do, you found the team and the technology to help you. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Well, what does it cost, and how do we get access to it?
So we actually don't have minimums. You access this by running media campaigns through us. We utilize the technology to identify and then place the media. So potentially the cost for using this technology is nothing.
So you're running on top of various DSPs?
Yes, correct.
So I know that maybe our least favorite word in this industry or digital advertising from time to time is brand lift study, but setting it up, brand lift study, so setting it up and how long it takes. So how are you able to do this in such a short amount of time to see that lift with needing the control group and so on and so forth?
That is a fantastic question. We actually have our own DMP. We have 2 billion worldwide, 280 million US-based profiles, 158 million voter profiles. So again, the way we won for multivariate, we have the data. We're already able to create both these exposed and control groups. Oh, just to let you know, that data is updated daily. Daily updates on our data.
So any case studies from last cycle where you feel that you can show that this was the difference maker?
This wasn't. This is the brand new.
Got it.
Put it this way. We already won our Pollies for multivariate. I wanted to bring you guys something new, not the old dusty.
So other modeling that I've used in the past, there's a certain CPM upcharge essentially to use it, right?
Causal IQ does not charge for the use of any data, including the ingestion of a client's first-party data for modeling or targeting.
But at some level, like you're still, like if I was to buy it on that same DSP, there is going to be a price difference. I'm just curious as to how.
A price difference in?
Well, compared, using it through you versus you going straight without the modeling data is what I'm saying. Yeah.
I mean, one of the things again with using us, since we don't charge for data, like our CPM numbers actually tend to be a little bit lower than some of the competitors we've run into, because our senior leadership believed when they started Causal IQ that it's part of our job to provide the data, to find the best candidates and the best voters that you're looking to target. That's our cost of business, not yours.
And there's no minimum?
Nope.
Who's the biggest competitor?
In this space, I don't know anybody who's doing this yet.
I know you say there's no minimum, but what is the ideal budget in order to see this work, right? Somebody can't give you $500 and expect a brand lift study or, to see a lift.
If somebody gives me $500, I pray they're running for dog catcher.
But
no, it's
$2,500. You know what I'm saying? There has to be a sweet spot in order for this to work properly.
To be completely honest, the way that the technology works is we're actually looking at this before the ad is placed, before a buy is actually placed. We're doing all this work beforehand. So when it comes down to And other people have said it, I'm not gonna, you give me, $2,000, I'm not gonna give you California. That doesn't make sense. So it's gonna, I hate to say this, it depends on the target audience and the area that you're looking to influence.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Have a good one.
All right, I'm going to put my glasses on so I don't mess this one up. turnipbluedigital. Beth Clayton Pierce. Come on up.
Well, hey, y'all. Save the best for last, I see. Thank you for having us. I am here with Turnip Blue Digital. It is a sister company of our traditional digital firm, Boulder Strategies. We spun up Turnip Blue Digital after the 2016 election when we, like many people, were heartbroken. And we saw a lot of folks stepping up to run for office who had never run for office before. We wanted to be there to help them because we felt like if they had the guts to run, we had the guts to run with them. So we created a programmatic ad buying platform designed specifically for those down ballot candidates and the agencies and organizations that serve them. In short, we wanted to give this access and we wanted to democratize the process. So we decided ad buying also just doesn't have to be difficult. Right now, if you look at a lot of the DSPs that are out there, they're kind of convoluted. There's a lot of data, there's a lot of ways to kind of mess it up. We wanted to simplify the process. And we built a platform designed specifically for people who want to do digital and they want to do it well, but don't really want to invest in the outlay to learn how to do a full digital buying team in-house. So, our voters aren't the same. A persuadable voter in Alabama, where I'm from, is not the same thing as a persuadable voter in Boulder, where my partner Nick is from. It doesn't work. We're trying to get them in Boulder to come to the middle a little bit. We're trying to get them in Alabama to move to the left. So we want to find a way to target people in a way that makes sense. So we can upload first-party data, we can target direct to the voter file, or you can build a custom audience using our curated data sets of third-party data right there in the platform. In short, we treat your audiences like people. And you can target them down to gender, geography, demographics, how do they vote, how often do they vote? All of those factors are available right there in the platform. We also decided the design process just shouldn't be such a pain in the ass, right? Like, it's awful. I hate having to go back and forth with revisions. It's terrible. So we plugged Canva right into the platform. You can go in, create your own digital right there in the system, and it uploads directly into the platform. Or you can choose from one of our pre-designed templates. Just buy the template, customize it with your own logo, your own photo, your own election date, and you're ready to rock and roll. We also have data that's frankly pretty. We believe that data should be accessible and it should be understandable. So we have white label reports. So if you're an agency partner that works with us, you can download that report and send it straight to your end user. We also have agency margin management built in there. So if you want to add in your commission on the front end, you can still sit that report to your client and they're none the wiser. Speaking of our agency partners, we really love our agency partners. We provide you with VIP support. We offer discounted ad rates up to 37.5% off list price. And the best part is cold, hard cash coming to you quarterly in the form of dividends. Because we're a group that believes that when we work together, we win together. And we really want to win with you. So if you're interested in placing some simple programmatic CTV ad buys, give us a shout. What can I answer for y'all?
So when you're talking about the voter file, what partners are you working with?
Right now, L2.
Is there any difference between, let's say you're the campaign mom or the candidate running for dog catcher versus the agency account? And in your agency account, how many total clients can you put in there, or do you have to create a different one for each?
So 2 questions. On the agency count question, as many as you want. It's unlimited. You can also have an unlimited number of user access. So if you have a big team and you want all of your account reps to be able to access that, you can give them all seats in the platform with limited access. But on the question about the difference between the candidate running for dog catcher and the agency, yes, different account types have different permission levels. There's a lot of bumpers in there for the campaign.
So I'm assuming it's tiered pricing. What are the tiers?
No tier pricing. We do require a $500 minimum to get involved. We encourage you to spend more than $500 because you're not going to get anything done for that. But at the end of the day, we have an ad budget calculator that helps you figure out what that number should be for you.
And what DSP is this white labeling?
We're built across an enterprise level of a few different ones.
Video as well, or just
Video too.
display?
Video too. We haven't figured out the video of how to build the video in platform yet. That's a tough nut to crack.
And I got questions for days. Is there some sort of, we all come up against this, right? I call them advocacy Fridays. Fridays at 7 p.m. when we're trying to get to a dinner reservation, but your creative needs to be approved. Are you doing anything to make sure that the exchanges in the different DSPs are approving the creative quickly, specifically over the weekend?
Yeah, they'll do 24-hour. They'll keep it running, especially as we get closer to elections. Now, on the managed service side, we offer a managed service product here where we basically just use the platform and run the ads for you. On that, we take a more hands-on approach to making sure your creative gets approved. Otherwise, you do your creative in the system. We give you some help docs to make sure that you're running creative that is going to get approved and that it's appropriate. But then that is on the user to make sure that their creative is actually meeting those requirements.
But when you're doing that white glove service, right, there's no difference in pricing because of how big the ad buy probably is?
So if you would want to go into the system and place your own ad buy, that's on you. You can do that for whatever you want. Now, if you want us to do it, it's a $9.95 setup and then 5% on top of whatever your buy is.
Sorry, say that again?
If you want us to run your
percentage?
ads, 5% on top.
Typical CPMs for display or video?
It's variable, so it depends on where you're running and what you're doing. We pass on that variable rate to the end user.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so here's what's going to happen. You're going to have the opportunity to text which of the vendors you believe is the most innovative solution or service. And again, it's MIQ, text request, SpotOn, Signafide, Causal, IQ, and you're welcome, turnipbluedigital. How, Becky, are we able to do this? Great. So I guess you're going to get something on the screen here. Oh, there it is. Okay, I didn't see it. Okay. So join it, and yep. So you can choose this, and while you're doing this, I'll tell you a little joke, so it give you a chance to do this whole thing. So two whales are drinking, and one whale says to the other whale, the other whale goes, "Man, you're hammered." Signafide's looking strong here. Wait. Oh, look at this. This is exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alex, Jackie, what among the vendors, which one would you have picked, or which one did you pick in texting?
I voted for MIQ.
And why? What struck you about that one?
A direct answer to the questions, that I thought they were doing something that I thought was innovative and that they'd really sort of thought through it all, especially the presentation as well.
Yeah, really nice dashboard for sure.
Yeah, I'd actually have to agree. I think that was pretty cool.
Yeah. I was struck between MIQ, and I probably would have voted Signifide just because it's just such an unusual, a new thing that we haven't seen before, at least, or I haven't seen before.
We're going to see a lot of it. I think we're going to see a lot more petitions and a much bigger need for that product.
Yeah, but I will say I thought everybody was great, and each one of these had, the thing that I really loved is that every one of them seemed to have a really nice dashboard. It was very customer friendly, they're well designed, every single one of them. So at any rate, I appreciate all of them. Thank you to our various vendors that presented. Look at this. Wait. Whoa.
Get someone in from the hall to come in and break the tie.
Hey, whoa. This is great. Thank you to all of them. You can keep voting here. I guess for a few more minutes, and we'll see what happens. This is like watching a horse race. This is great.
These elections going for days, counting the results.
Okay. So meanwhile, like text request is probably texting all of the.
Get in here and vote.
Yeah. All right, thanks everybody. Appreciate it. Tonight we have our gala at 5:30 p.m. and I guess that's the welcoming reception or something like that. And then we will party the night away. We hope to see you all very soon. And then don't forget, come May, Puerto Rico. All right. If you haven't been to the Puerto Rico concerts, we did this some years ago. It was outstanding. And the nicest thing about this conference, I'm going to tell you right now, for those of you that are in sales, is that it's going to have a real lobby scene. You know, these Vegas ones, everybody splits up and does their thing sometimes. But it's going to have a real serious lobby scene. It's going to be super fun. And they have pools, like nice big pools. So we get to see each other in bathing suits. It's going to be great. All right. See you later. Thanks again.